Hi, I'm Sarah from sewingmastery.com, and it's always an exciting day when we finally get to all the nitty-gritty videos on a brand new machine. For today, the Pfaff Creative Icon 2, and teaching you all the specifics of getting threaded, getting started, and then check out all the links below in the description if you want to learn more about this machine, because we're doing a ton of videos. We also have some online courses, so the quilt behind us here today is the Pfaff Stitching Cosmos online course if you want to learn more about your decorative stitches, all those great accessory feet, and lots more. So again, lots of things that you can check out, free videos that you can watch in the course before you find out if it's right for you. But today we're going to talk about getting all the way threaded correctly. So I'm going to take you through threading the machine, winding a bobbin, and I'm going to just mention a couple things about the screen, plus your foot control. So first off, when we talk threads, we are talking about needing some good quality threads. This is not the machine to be using the old thread, the not so high quality thread. Like if you're not sure if you should be using it, you probably are right. Let's skip. Let's go ahead and reach for some of our good quality thread. I've got a Metler here I'm actually going to use. It's a cotton one. If you are a quilter and tend to do a lot of quilt piecing, you'll love Aurifil thread. That's one of my go-tos. It's a little thinner, so that's why I'm using the middle-sized weight here. It's going to kind of give our stitches a little bit more bold look. And then, of course, when I jump over to embroidery, some of my favorite is the Isacord brand or the Robeson Anton. The ones I prefer, both the polyester styles. So again, stronger thread because this machine sews a lot faster. Also too, if my screen looks a little different than yours, that's because I've got into the settings and changed where I can set up the background color. So down here, you can find which one is best for you to see. And I'm trying out if this actually shows a little better on camera for us to be viewing. So if sometimes my screen looks a little bit lighter, it's because I've changed it, but oftentimes yours might be on the blacker version. If that works for you, there's kind of the maroon and the different kind of gradated shades. So I've gone ahead and picked the lightest one and see how that does, and we'll see if I switch back or not. So I'm going to just touch OK and kind of start from there. There are tons of videos actually in this machine. So if you have any questions of where to start, go to the very top and touch the icon that looks like a picture of a book. The Help Center. We've got a quick start guide. We've got the complete user's guide, sewing instructions, stabilizers, accessories, needle guide. Apparently that needs its very own. So if we were looking for just how to get started, like how to thread the machine, how to do the actual automatic needle threader, which I'm going to explain a couple great tips, you can go in here and just double check that you're doing it correctly. As you're in here, I want you to notice how many other videos there are. There's no sound, so you can just watch, you can push pause, you can do it, you can play and then do it. It's pretty awesome how much is already built into the machine. But I'm so glad you're here watching on YouTube and going through all the tutorials with me. So first off, when you do open the machine, you notice that all the stitches in the categories are kind of given here. So if you're looking for some of the specialty stitches, we can go, oh yeah, that's right, it's in group 8. So I love that this is one of the new features. Next, take the thread stand and pull it all the way up as high as it'll go. Now, as soon as I get it all the way up, I'm going to be coming up to these little guides when I am threading. So flip one or both up, and then look in your accessories to find the little discs. Now they go on like this, and so they can hold the thread, not like this. So we want them in place and ready for our thread to be sat on. So threads that are kind of cross-wound, where you see the little X's on the spool, actually do best when they go straight up and to a guide. So I'm always using a separate thread stand beside the machines that don't have this built in. And then when I teach classes, I always emphasize for the machines that have the built-in thread stand, there must be a reason. It's because you do get a better flow of thread off of your spool. It actually is meant to go straight up. It also, and I'm going to pull this all the way up and it's going to disappear, it also gives that thread time to relax. So if you are working with some metallic thread or some clear thread or thread that's a little bit touchy, the thread stand concept concept is going to let it kind of relax as you're doing it. If you're using a twin needle or double needle, put that other one on and you can use them just right there, ready to go. But I wanted to say, first off, it's time to wind a bobbin. We're going to do that all right here on top of the machine. Do you just love the new tall bobbins that you get with this machine? They are going to hold more thread, and you're still going to look for the Pfaff logo, so you know to always have that on top when you place it here, and then also when you drop it in the machine. As long as that logo's on top, you're putting the bobbin in correctly. So problem solved with that. Next, I'm going to bring you over here. We're going to just come underneath and under the little groove. When you come here, you'll feel a little resistance, and that is just enough so when this bobbin winds, it has the right amount of tension, you might say, applied to that thread to put it on the bobbin. Now, if you haven't done this in a long time, go ahead and take your bobbin, find that little opening on top, and bring the tail of the thread from the middle right up and out the top part. Take your bobbin, place it on the bobbin winder. You might even have to spin it just a little bit. You heard that little click, and then it goes all the way down. Now, when I start, I will be holding this straight up and not letting go. We also, once it starts to spin, make sure you cut that tail all the way off. So there's no little nub or extra thread. Don't let it get wrapped in with the rest of the thread, because a little extra thread hanging over the edge of the bobbin doesn't do very well either. Now, as soon as you push this to the right, we have a new pop-up screen on our machine. Here you can adjust how fast it's going to wind by touching and moving the little bubble. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and touch start. Once you do, make sure that that thread's nice and secured by your hand, and go ahead and begin to wind. Now, if the thread does break, like mine just did, I'll double check and make sure I don't have a little extra bit. If you want to stop it early, just go ahead. You can flip it this way, or you can also push pause on the screen itself. So I'm going to go ahead and wind. I do see that I have a little bit of thread that kind of got pulled in, so it didn't really cut all the way at the end. So I'm going to take the time right now. This is so important. Clip that off and then go ahead and finish filling up your bobbin. Now, I am a fan of always having the bobbins filled and not winding more than one color on a bobbin. If you really feel like you just don't have enough bobbins, go buy more bobbins. I find most of our students have anywhere from 20 to 30 bobbins for their machine, just so you don't have to be always like pulling threads off if you need a spare bobbin. That is just a little trick. So don't be surprised if you're buying a couple extra packs next time you visit your Pfaff dealer. Next, take your bobbin straight up, and there's a little cutter right here. So I usually go around the front to the back, but you could go from the back to the front and then pull and cut. Remember, logo on top, drop it right in here. There's a little opening. Flip this up and the cover comes off, and then you're going to place the bobbin into the bobbin case. Now here's the trick to getting the bobbin properly in the tension. See how there's a little groove opening right about 6 o'clock? I usually just take the thread, flip it over the top, and it will drop right into that groove. At this point, I'm a fan of putting my finger on the bobbin, holding it as I pull up into the far left corner. So as I do so, click, you'll hear it click in. If you ever have odd tensions or like your stitches aren't looking great, double check that your bobbin thread hasn't gotten out of this little area. And at a quick glance, you'll see this thread laying across the bobbin when it is correctly threaded. Now, what do we do with the rest of the tail? Bring it over the top. Follow the little arrows underneath. Now, I like to put the cover back over it, push down, and then at this point, pull the thread, and it cuts it to the perfect length. Now, once we thread the machine and take our first stitches, that thread will naturally come up. You don't have to bring your bobbin thread up anymore. So this part here is only for when you're winding a bobbin. So when you're ready to start threading the machine, take it out of here, head to the first guide, which is this silver arm sticking out to the left. Now watch, I'm going to hold my thread with my right hand while I thread the machine with my left hand. And here is why. As you travel across the back, right here, if you see this little fin or a separator here, it doesn't matter which side you go on. We will talk about that when we do twin needle work. When you do 2 threads, you put one on one side and one on the other, and then each thread has equal tension when the presser foot is lowered. So for regular threading with just one thread, it doesn't matter which side you go over. Okay, so I'm going to reattach my hands to the thread, and I'm coming straight down and then up. Right here, I'm going to have you stop. If you do this and then take your thread back and forth, we call it flossing your thread. It really helps make sure it goes all the way deep into the tension discs. If you've ever had lots of thread underneath your fabric on the back side, it's because the thread is not in this area correctly. Usually by rethreading it, it fixes the problem. But it's not the bobbin issue. Everybody thinks it is, but it's not. Now at this point, you can just take your thread in whichever hand, come all the way up to the back on the right and down on the left, and it will hook right in. Now if it doesn't hook right in, make sure that you just take the needle up down button and cycle it 1 full stitch so that needle goes down and then comes up to its highest position, which is where it should be. But if you've gone over here and turned the hand wheel a little bit, that might not be in the ideal place for perfect threading. Then take your thread, you have one guide at the top of the needle, it's open on the right, so you can just go ahead and slip it in. That should be your last guide, and it will be right at the top of your needle eye. Now for the beautiful automatic needle threader on the Pfaff machine, all you do is take your thread up underneath this little silver arm. In this white little mouth, go push it towards the back. You'll hear it click in there and kind of hold. And then to cut it to the perfect length, just bring it over the side where the cutter is and bring it towards you. It cuts it to the perfect length. Reach up, touch the needle threading button, and then step away and watch the magic. Usually here is where I'll take the thread, put it down the center of my foot, and get ready to start to stitch. When we talk about fabric testing, I want you to always take your fabric, fold it in half. I want you to always sew on 2 layers of fabric. You'll see me do that even when I'm doing decorative stitches. You'll see a piece of fabric and a piece of stabilizer. So 2 layers are key for truly getting the best look for your machine. Now I am going to show you, I haven't yet plugged in the foot control. This is the one that comes with it. By the way, there is an amazing optional multi-function foot control that allows you to do so much more. So if you are interested, have your Pfaff store show you what that's all about. It makes this one look so boring. But you know what's nice is this has a retractable cord. So once you pull it out, we're going to plug it into the side. When you're traveling, taking it with you, just give it a little pull and it flows itself right back into the side, which is wonderful. So I'm going to go ahead, pull it all the way out, and get ready to stitch. Now if you get somewhere without that foot control, you do have a button, it's the second one up from the bottom part here, that you can actually use as a start-stop button. So you can run this machine without a foot control. But for today, I am a fan of usually stepping on my foot control and doing our stitching. Now you can just step on your foot control and this presser foot will automatically come down to the fabric and start to stitch. Oh, she's beautiful. When you sew, here is what you can do. You can touch the scissor button and it will cut the thread and lift the foot up for you, pull it out, and you will have 1 thread left and your new seam. Check it. If it looks the same on the front and on the back, like you can't tell which side you sewed from, you have done this correctly. So we're going to go over a ton of different little tips and tricks. I hope you'll check out kind of this first group of videos that is about, putting your needle in right or cleaning your machine so it stays nice and quiet and happy. Make sure that you really get into all the videos that we have done, and we're going to keep adding them until every video is done. Every page of the manual is what we kind of go for. You'll find the link to the complete playlist of all of our videos in the description below.